Can't believe it. All my dreams came true. America voted, and the country turned blue. We wanted Joe Biden for the next 4 years. We wanted Kamala, and now there's no need to fear. And who's commander-in-chief? Joe Biden. The one that Trump can't defeat. Joe Biden. Who can fix the economy? Joe Biden, baby. Joe Biden. Who will treat us equally? Joe Biden. Who can give us what we need? Joe Biden. Who can take this virus down? Joe Biden, baby.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 317 of the Spann Reporter Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. And we rocking out to the smooth sounds of these white folks, man. Talk about Joe Biden and the style of case. Can it keep sweat? I'm going to sweat. What the fuck is wrong? Yo. What's going on, everybody? Oh, man. We got new POTUS, like coming in and shit, y'all. We got new POTUS coming in. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing, man. Last time y'all talked to me, nigga was stressed, nigga was stressed. Nigga. Like, my hairline was like receding even more, and I cut my shit. You know what I'm saying? I cut my shit. Like, yo, man, it was coming back. Like, my shit was doing one of these, man. I was getting like the cul-de-sac. I was going to come up to the job, with my ceiling missing and everything, man. Real talk. But, yo, man, it's been a couple weeks since I talked to y'all. And it was stressful. I ain't gonna lie to you. Your man Spann was like kind of on pins and not just because of the election shit. Of course, that's some shit to be concerned about. But I got some personal shit going on, man. I got some things happening in the background. Part of the reason why we didn't do a show last week, and I kind of want to tell y'all, but I can't tell y'all because it's like some dope shit, and I don't want to jinx it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, there was some things going on, and in the middle of all of that, man, they served that motherfucker Donald Trump his eviction notice. You know what I'm saying, baby? He got the motherfucking eviction notice. Indeed. But yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. This is episode number 317 of the Spann Report Podcast. Like I said, I am your host, Mr. Spann. And of course, let me remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. And of course, those messages will get played here and replied to here live on the show. And if you're watching us here live on Periscope, Facebook, or YouTube, you can call in the hotline as we do the show right now, man. Area code 313-288-0485. Let your voice be heard right here on the show, right? Also, email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead and leave us those emails. And of course, those emails will get right here and replied to here live on the show as well. We got an email that I need to read here tonight. So, yeah, man, email us at feedback@thespannreport.com. Also, hit us up on our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there and watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name is on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. And also 5-star reviews, man. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live in the show. We really do appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple of minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. And truthfully speaking, as I've said this before, the people who don't fuck with you will let you know. So it's nice. It's nice when, you know, the people who do fuck with you also let it be known that they fuck with you, man. Because I know we tend to get complacent, man. We got some shit that we fuck with, man, and we just assume it's gonna always be there and shit, and then suddenly it's gone, and we talk about how much we miss that shit, and you're like, well, damn, nigga, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I didn't know. Had I known, I probably could have still been doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. As y'all can tell, your man Spann is in a pretty good mood today, man. Real talk, man. We got a lot to be like kind of optimistic about, man. I don't know if that's the thing, man. I don't know if it's been like old age. Not that I'm an old nigga. I'm like, well, I'm getting older, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to claim that. I call it like, I don't even want to claim that. I claim getting better, right? But at the same time, like life can like beat motherfucking optimism out of you and shit. Life can beat, it can beat excitement out of you. And truthfully speaking, it's hard for me to get excited about a lot of things, man, because I'm always worried about the other shoe to drop, so to speak, man. I've had so many different instances in my life where I got excited about some shit and was sorely motherfucking disappointed. And so, man, I'm just, I'm excited about some shit right now, and I just don't want to fucking jinx it, man. I really don't want to jinx it. For real. Oh, shout out to Tim Kirby in the chat room. Shout out. What's up, man? How you doing? And Stephanie's also fucking with us. How you doing? And thank you so much, sister. It feels good to be back in the chair, man. I mean, I was only gone for 2 weeks and I sit in the chair every day, but still. Thank you. But yo, man, it is time for us to get into some I did say this. I got some listener feedback that I need to get to. So let me go ahead and pull out my trusty Note 20 Ultra here. They should be giving me money, man. They really should. They should be giving me money. But let's go ahead and check out some of these emails that we got. Okay, where are we? Wrong account, dude. Wrong account. All right, here we go. We get this email. This comes from the homeboy Reggie. Reggie writes in to say, well, first it says happy post-election. It says, hey, Spann, have you unclenched your jaws yet? Have you let out the deep sigh of relief? Have you uncocked all the guns I'm sure you had? Hey, man, keep that shit on the low. Keep that shit on the low. You know what I'm saying? The American people have spoken. And the one thing Mitch McConnell tried hard to do with Barack Obama became a very thing that happened to his successor. Karma's a bitch. Ain't she though? Like she will get you all the way together. All the way together. Karma's a motherfucker, man. It says, anyways, I'm finally happy that I don't have to watch another campaign ad for at least another couple years. And from the looks of it, Biden can at least do the bare minimum and just be a competent statesman. You never truly appreciate what you have until it's gone. Man, listen. It was so many people who, for all intents and purposes, there was a lot of people who just simply believed that Hillary Clinton was going to win that election last time, took it for granted that she was going to win that election last time, didn't go out to the polls in the ways in which they should. And when those results came back, found out that like, yo, man, there was some other people motivated to have shit go the other way. And so right now to have someone in the coming into the office who at least who knows the fucking job, man. Who comes into the office knowing the job. Like, I don't need the president of the United States to be some dude I need to sit around and have like a beer with and shit. And I know a lot of people, they use that as a voting criteria. I feel like I could just sit down and have a beer with him and have a conversation. He's not one of those smarty art guys, who feels like he knows every goddamn thing. And truthfully speaking, anytime, that's another thing, man. A lot of those folks who tell you that, you think you know everything, or they don't like people who are intelligent. They don't like people who have a vast knowledge of a lot of different subjects, man. They're really only talking about their own insecurities, man. And so in Donald Trump, what we saw was folks having their insecurities kind of reflected back to them. Like they can see themselves sitting in the office, because if Donald Trump's dumbass can sit up there, well, damn it, that means I can too, Donald Trump's, this is Donald Trump's America. You got to fucking live with it. That's what they told us 4 years ago with that bullshit from 4 years ago. But he also says you can never really truly appreciate what you had until it's gone. Thanks for your podcast and how you talked about everything concerning this election and bringing some historical references to put things into perspective. Good job, Spann. Well, I appreciate you, Reggie. Real talk, man. And I appreciate you writing in, because like I said, you're one of those people who will write in and let us know what the fuck's going on and how you feeling about what and what we're talking about here on the show. You're one of those folks, and I really do appreciate you. for writing in and contributing to the conversation. But also, man, I think the historical aspects of it are important, man, because we so many people when we talk about these things, so many people talk about them as these things are existing in a vacuum, and when you can look back at some of the history, and if you can kind of educate yourself on some of the history, and you start seeing some of the patterns that are playing out, you're like, yo, man, this has happened before, and you can try to plot against it happening again. And so, I know a lot of folks, when it came to Donald Trump, man, there was like some of those parallels between him and Richard Nixon and how they kind of maneuvered politically and stuff. And it's been what's the word that I'm looking for here? I think it's important to have some level of knowledge about that history, how that's planned out, how they tried to plot that out. And truthfully speaking, I think the difference between what happened with Richard Nixon and what was going on with Donald Trump is simply this: Richard Nixon didn't have a Fox News. I think that's the biggest thing that was going for Donald Trump. Donald Trump had a cable news network, a 24-hour network that trumpeted his talking points, that was an echo chamber for him and his listeners, and it kind of reverberated, and the rest of us had to deal with the consequences of that. But yeah, man, I think having some historical reference kind of keeps you from falling into the traps of A equals B, where sometimes it's a little bit more we get into those stark, we get into these stark this or that sort of conversations, as opposed to this and that, and forgetting the nuance in the middle. And so, yeah, man, that's where that historical reference, kind of brings a lot of things into perspective for me. And hopefully, it's helped, with a lot of other folks too, man, real talk. But I appreciate you again, Reggie, for writing in. Thank you so much, sir. And it's time for us to get into the news. Scratch that. My bad. Your man Spann got some thoughts, man. My bad. Shit happens. Sometimes players fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And your man Spann fucked up there. It's been 2 weeks, man. I'm rusty. But my first random thought, man, is this, man. As we talking about Donald Trump and stuff like that, man. I had this thing earlier in the year. Not even earlier in the year. A few weeks ago, I was talking about this. About the whole thing about no cap, I was trying to figure out how did no cap become a replacement for lying? You know what I'm saying? You're not even replacing that many syllables and shit. You still saying the same, you're not even shortening the word. You know what I'm saying? No cap, but all right, man, no lie or whatever, right? And I fucked my daughter up though. I'm like, yo, baby, I'm coming over to get you. No cap. And she just started dying laughing. She's like, he did not. My baby girl, 17, so she wasn't expecting me to say that. That's another reason why I know your man's been getting a little bit up there, right? When your baby is looking at you like, no, you can't say that, daddy. You can't say that. But anyway, I had this thing though. I was thinking about this. So I'm like, you know what? Since we just changing what words mean and shit now, I kind of said, well, fuck it then. I'm going to stop calling people liars and just start calling them Trumpers. You know what I'm saying? Makes sense, don't it? It makes sense because that's all that motherfucker ever did, man. This dude's a congenital liar or congenital Trumper, right? He says untruths all the fucking time. They come out rapid fire. Doesn't even have to make sense. He could have just said a Trumper. He could have just said a Trump, I don't know, 2 minutes ago and forgot the Trump he just told. You know what I'm saying? He could have just forgot all of that shit. And I'm just saying, man, I'm going to just start, instead of calling people liars, I'm going to call them Trumpers, man. Start calling lies Trumps. You know what I'm saying? Take for instance, man, I know damn well you just didn't stand there and Trump in my motherfucking face. You know what I'm saying? It rolled just right off. It's one syllable. You know what I'm saying? It rolls right off the tongue, though, man. This trumping motherfucker over here, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. This old Trump ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? It works, right? It works. I'm gonna use that, man. For real. I'm gonna keep that going. Y'all help me amplify that. Make Trump synonymous with lying, man. Make that a thing, man. Let's make that a thing. Since Cap took off, maybe we can for us older folks, Another question I got, man, for those of you. We got word last week, I believe. As a matter of fact, it was the week before. It might have, it was the week before the election night. We got word that there was news that Kwame Kilpatrick was about to get out of jail. I'm gonna just ask y'all, man, did Kwame get out, or was Representative Karen Whitson out here lying again? I mean, they did this shit earlier this summer, man, and it was the same lady who was talking about Donald Trump, who she was praising Donald Trump about giving her or telling her about hydroxychloroquine because she had the COVID and the hydroxychloroquine worked for her, and she got censured by the Michigan Democratic the Michigan Democratic Committee and all this other stuff, man. And they were promoting this story about Kwame Kilpatrick about to get released from jail because of COVID, and here we are a week after the election. Kwame, I think, still sitting in jail, man. I don't know if they let that dude out yet. Just wonder if that was a thing, man. Like they were trying to depress some of the votes in the Detroit area by saying that they were going to let Kwame out. Because, like I said, I think there's a lot of people who really would have considered voting for Donald Trump in Detroit because of how popular Kwame Kilpatrick still is in this city, man. Real talk. But yeah, man. Apparently she lying, but I was thinking about that. Also, man, since it's like, election day has come and gone, man, and Donald Trump is no longer, going to be occupying that space, man, I think it was just apropos that America, which loves kicking out low income people of color out of public housing, man. Like, I really think I don't understand why election day should have been any different, is what I'm saying. Like they love kicking out low income people of color out of public housing. It's just a thing that America loves to do. And this time, Donald Trump is on the receiving end of that, so I was kind of thinking about that, man. Another thing I was thinking about, man, I read this article, man. It said that that intelligent people tend to curse more. They're like, if you're intelligent, you tend to curse a lot. And I just say, God damn it, I'm a motherfucking Rhodes Scholar if that's the fucking case. Okay, give me my shit. Call me a Rhodes Scholar with your bitch ass. All right, that's how I feel about it, because I'm an intelligent motherfucker. Right? Yo. Those have been my random thoughts. Now we can get to the news. All right. Our first story here in the news is actually a sad one. Alex Trebek, the longtime host of Jeopardy, has passed away. He was 80 years old. We're going to pull this story up here. I believe this comes out of the Washington Post. It says Alex Trebek, who became known to generations of television viewers as a quintessential quiz master, bringing an air of bookish polities to the garish coliseum of game shows. As a longtime host of Jeopardy, he died November 8th at 80. The official Jeopardy Twitter account announced his death without further details. Mr. Trebek had suffered a series of health reversals in recent years, including 2 heart attacks and brain surgery, and was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2019. He continued to host new episodes of his show until production was suspended in March because of the novel coronavirus pandemic. Excuse me. And after that, he went on filming introductions to old episodes that were aired again. For more than 3 decades, Mr. Trebek was a daily presence in millions of households, earning near rabid loyalty for the intellectual challenge of his show, in which questions were presented as answers and answers were delivered in the form of questions. By the time of his death, Jeopardy was one of the most popular and longest-lasting programs of its kind in TV history. Mr. Trebek, the self-made son of a hotel chef, had no sequin co-prisoner to match Vanna White on host Pat Sajak's Wheel of Fortune. His show neither attracted nor allowed histrionics, no galloping, shrieking contestants such as those summoned to come on down on The Price is Right with Bob Barker. Even the Jeopardy theme song was one of the most recognizable jingles on television, was restrained in his dainty dings. There was no hot seat like the chair for contestants who want to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin, a show that Jeopardy purists disdain for its elementary subject matter and inflated prize money. On Jeopardy, there were only questions and answers, or rather answers and then questions, leavened by the briefest of banter before Mr. Trebek directed the 3 contestants back to business. You know what? One of the things about like Alex Trebek, I was thinking about this. He was my grandma's favorite television host, man. Like Granny sat up and watched. She watched the Wheel of Fortune and she watched Jeopardy all the time. And like, that kind of, I don't know what it was. It was like it kind of spurred like that curiosity to have like a mind full of like sometimes useless information. Like I used to sit up and read like encyclopedias all the time. Like if I had to go to the bathroom, I would take an encyclopedia in the bathroom with me and learn some shit. Like, like that's just what it was. And Granny always had encyclopedias around the house and stuff. This is before the internet. You know, that's what I'm getting. Your man Spann getting older, getting better a little bit. But yeah, man. So like I like from the time I was a kid to now, Alex Trebek has been like a part of your life, like a part of my life and stuff. And so when I heard that he had, you know, been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I honestly expected him to be gone sooner, unfortunately. And it's only because of like the nature of pancreatic cancer. My great grandmother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It was actually my first real like dealings with death was around her death. My great grandmother, my granny's mom. All right, and I was about 10 years old, so this happened in like 1990. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and grandma was gone in a week. You know, and I distinctively remember how fast it was from like her diagnoses to when she was gone. And so you know, Alex Trebek managed to like, you know, continue on for 2 years after that diagnosis, man. And as I was watching like episodes of Jeopardy now, like I didn't know, like my wife had to point this out to me that he was wearing a wig. Like I was like, damn, he still look good. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the other part about it too. Like when I know he, you know, they were wearing makeup and stuff like that, but you know, when you're around someone every day who may be like sick with a terminal disease or anything. I remember this happening with my mom. My mother was sick with breast cancer. And as a kid, I like when she passed, I was 17 years old. But I can remember not necessarily understanding how seriously sick my mom was because my mom kept working. My mom kept going out, being social and stuff like that. Mom never stayed, like she never stayed like just in the house, you know, just like bedridden or anything like that. My mom kept going. And so when she did go to the hospital, it became a routine where, you know, we just kind of figured, okay, mom's going to the hospital, go get a tune up. She come right back until that fateful day where mom didn't come back. And I'm being told, you know, by relatives, you know, that day or whatnot. And so in much the same way, for me, it was like that with Alex Trebek, where I'm looking at him on television and I'm like, man, he still looks good, you know? And it's not until like afterwards you start realizing like how sick someone really was. But yo, man, it's a sad day, man, for, you know, because I like Alex Trebek was a goddamn institution, dude. And I used to like love the little quick wit, like especially if somebody got some shit wrong, and like he was real slick and like shading people. Like that was the other part about it, man. Alex Trebek was real slick with the shade when he when somebody would get some shit wrong, like, oh no, that was hydrochloroquine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like the way it was never like you could tell, like maybe I'm reading into it, I don't know, but still, you know, yeah, Alex Trebek, man, fucking icon in television, will be sorely missed. I really did appreciate the show. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to replace Alex Trebek. If they decide to replace Alex Trebek, you know, I know the show will probably go on, but it's not going to be the same. Whoever decides to fill that role has huge shoes to fill, man. Real talk. But yo, man, Alex Trebek died this week at the age of 80 years old. All right. Another story that we got here in the news. Of course, we just got finished talking about a lot of like electoral stuff, but check this out, man. KRS-One should sit down and listen to this, right? Because KRS-One with the Electoral College. Listen, they are actually trying to figure out, there are states in the United States of America right now who are trying to figure out a way to replace the Electoral College.
Well, that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
We get the story here. This comes out of NBCnews.com. It says Colorado voters have decided to join a growing list of states that will decide a president by popular vote. The latest move in a national chess match over the way the United States elects its president. Called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, the agreement calls for states to award their electoral votes to the winner of the popular vote. So far, 15 states and the District of Columbia have approved the pact, covering 196 electoral votes of the required 270 to win the presidency. that 270 matters. The states that have approved legislation to join the compact agreed it would not take into effect until the 270 threshold is reached. Once it does, those states will have the power to use their electoral college votes to elect a winner, according to the popular vote. This uses the electoral college to effectively abolish the electoral college. Colorado Senate was the first state legislative body to try to pass the national popular vote proposal in 2006, though the legislation failed multiple times. It was ultimately signed into law last year by Governor Jared Polis, a Democrat, but was then successfully challenged by Coloradans Vote, a group that gathered enough signatures to invoke a rarely used referendum to ask Colorado voters to confirm or repeal the law. Now, understand that. Again, try to understand this real quick. What Republicans did here in this state was essentially ask the users to give up their power to elect the fucking president. This is what Republicans tried to do, to get the voters to disenfranchise themselves. And then they gave it a name, Coloradans Vote. Right? Now, that doesn't even make sense. It says John Koza was part of that early effort and was creator of the chair of the National Popular Vote nonprofit. He is a computer scientist who is known for his work in genetics and even co-invented the scratch-off lottery ticket, and is more than a passing interest in how the U.S. presidential election operates. I don't care about this, but think about that for a second, y'all. Like, Colorado being one of the first states to try to implement this popular vote initiative in order to award your state's electoral votes based upon the popular vote. Many people believe that not just many people, most people believe that the president of the United States should be elected based upon the will of the majority of the people voting in the presidency. Right? It's the only fucking race that we have that there's another entity that's involved when it comes to whether or not they get the office or not. When you vote for a senator, they win by popular vote. When you vote for a state representative, they win by popular vote. The only office is the presidency, where we get somebody else to decide whether or not they become president or not. And so this is how you have situations where an Al Gore wins the popular vote, but because of the recount and the electoral college laws and shit like that, we get a president, George W. Bush. This is the same way we get a president, Donald Trump, as opposed to a president, Hillary Rodham Clinton. And so one of the things I think about is, like, the Republicans haven't won the popular vote. They haven't won the popular vote for president. I want to say they've only did that once, and that was in like 2004. Since Reagan, I believe Reagan was like the last president outside of 2004 with George Bush. So like two in the past 40 fucking years, only two Republicans have actually won the popular vote when it comes to electing the president, and yet we've had three fucking presidents. Like, George W. Bush should never have been president to begin with. He won in 2004 in a re-election effort. And this is where, you got a lot of people who they don't necessarily want a change during the middle of a war and all this other shit. We had the Iraq war going on, Afghanistan was going on. They didn't want to change this, that, and other. There's a lot of dirty tricks going on back then too. But yeah, man, states are already looking to replace, the electoral college. And this effort has been going on at this point 14 years now. And one of the things that I think is very important, now that we've gotten, people registered to vote, now we got to start educating folks on voting down ballot, right? Trying to get educated on the people, who those people are down ballot, because you're voting for the president, but there's also some senators on there. There's also some state reps on there. You may be voting for judges on there. You may be voting for your comptroller or your treasurer or your county executive. All of those things are on that ballot. So now what we have to do, because we've got people we've got them registered. We've got to start educating folks on the folks down ballot, because a lot of this would probably already be done if state legislatures weren't controlled by Republicans. They know they can't win straight up. They know they can't win via popular vote. They know this. And so they put in hurdles in front of you to keep you from getting some of the common sense shit because they can't compete straight up. That's just what it is. And so, yeah, man, that's what's going on. Now, another story that we got here in the news is Joe Biden has actually become the first Democratic presidential nominee to win Georgia since 1992. Yeah, we get the story here. This comes out of CNN.com. It says Joe Biden will win Georgia, and I believe Georgia is going under a recount right now. It says CNN projected this Friday, striking at the heart of what has been a Republican presidential stronghold for nearly 3 decades. The former vice president is the first Democratic nominee to triumph in Georgia since Bill Clinton did it in 1992. Biden's victory adds 16 electoral votes to his tally, bringing him to 306, matching President Donald Trump's 2016 total. With CNN's projection that Trump will win North Carolina, the final tally is 306-232, a landslide for the president-elect who flipped 5 states and a congressional district in Nebraska from turning red to blue in 2020. The symmetry provides the president with yet another bitter pill to swallow. Trump has spent years tweeting and talking up his margin of victory against Hillary Clinton, one that has now been turned on its head in a final national rebuke of his presidency. In Georgia, Trump had raced out to an early lead in counting, but Biden surged ahead as the votes from Atlanta and its suburbs were tabulated. The Democratic ticket's historic success has been funneled by grassroots organizations, organizing renaissance that routed a rapidly diversifying electorate and suburbs that are at once growing and becoming increasingly inhospitable to Republican candidates. So here's the thing, man. Like I said, we got people registered to vote. That's the thing. But now those people have to be, we got to continue to press. We got to continue to get these people educated on who these candidates are for their state reps, for the judgeships, for their city council, like all of these people who actually affect the policy on the day-to-day more so than the president does for you, right? We got to get folks educated as to who these people are. And truthfully speaking, one of the advantages of being an absentee voter, and this is something that I actually took advantage of this year for the first time, being able to have an absentee ballot, is that I was able to sit down at my dining room table and search for who these people were, the ones that I had no idea who the fuck they were and why they were running, right? I had an opportunity to sit there and Google them, find out what some of their policy, positions were, find out how they voted on certain issues and things like that. Like I had time to sit at my table and do that before I made a choice. And I could actually sit with that ballot for a couple days and think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could do that. And so I think that's one of the advantages of being an absentee ballot, user, is that you don't feel rushed going into that voting booth, not knowing who these names are and just leaving those names blank because you don't feel comfortable voting for somebody who you don't know who they are. Even if they do have a D next to their name, if they have an R next to their name, I don't know this person. Why would I just put my name next? Why would I vote for them? I don't know what the fuck they stand for, right? So being an absentee ballot, being an absentee voter, it gives you an opportunity to just kind of sit back and like, hey man, okay, let me look over these policies. Let me look over some of these their voting records on certain issues and shit. And I can make a better informed decision on who I'm voting for down ballot. I know a lot of folks are focusing on what's going on at the top, but focusing on some of those down ballot races as well, so that we can flip some of these state legislatures so that you can make a change to the electoral college, because that's where it lies. It lies in your state legislature. And Republicans right now are controlling 31 state legislatures throughout the country. And because they control those legislatures, they control districting in a lot of these states, because some of these states don't have, what we have here in Michigan now, where we have a commission, a bipartisan commission that determines the congressional lines here in the state, where in some of these other states that don't have that, well, whoever controls the congressional, like the state house, the state senate in that state, the state legislature, they get to determine who or how a district is drawn up for representation in Washington, D.C. So yeah, man, something to be mindful of. Joe Biden won in Georgia. That hasn't been done since 1992. I was 12 years old when that shit happened, man. That's crazy. But that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news is a Joe Biden coronavirus advisor actually said that the U.S. could lock down for 4 to 6 weeks to control the pandemic and revive the goddamn economy.
That'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah, man. So we get the story here. This comes out of CNBC.com. It says shutting down businesses and paying people for lost wages for 4 to 6 weeks to help keep the coronavirus pandemic in check and get the economy on track until a vaccine is approved and distributed, said Dr. Michael Osterholm, a coronavirus advisor to President-elect Joe Biden. Osterholm, who serves as director of the Centers of Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, said earlier this week that the country is headed toward COVID hell. Cases are rising as more people grow tired of wearing masks and social distancing, suffering from so-called pandemic fatigue, he said Wednesday. Colder weather is also driving people indoors where the virus can spread more easily. I'm going to tell y'all this right now. I see this every day now. And here's I was driving home from work last night. And as I was driving home from work, there was this club that I drove past. And they used to, like happy hour and shit, right? And happy hours, generally people just getting off of work, they go have a drink, mingle a little bit, But I was driving past this club and I noticed that the parking lot of the club was packed, fucking packed. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I get it. You want to unwind. Some folks want to kind of be around people and stuff, but I don't know if this is the time for us to be doing that. Also, keep in mind, like I'm noticing like the way in which I work and the way in which a lot of people are working, the way in which you see like television coming back. I remember at the beginning of this pandemic stuff, like they were sending folks home. People were like broadcasting right from their crib, same way I'm doing now. Like you watching the news and your favorite news anchors in their living room giving you the news and shit, right? Like you're starting to see some of the more and more of those people coming back to the studios and stuff. Even when we were watching the election coverage, like they were in studio, like they weren't doing this remotely. They were all in studio. They were sitting a little further away from each other, but they weren't wearing masks. They were still in studio. Like it's as if we've gotten comfortable with the idea of coronavirus just kind of being something that lurking in the background, right? And so like I'm noticing that like we've gotten, and not only that, in the ways in which they're talking about the infection rates as it stands right now, much more than those infection rates at the beginning of this. And yet we still are operating in much the same way as if everything's somewhat back to normal. Right. And so like this idea that we could shut the whole country down for 4 to 6 weeks. And I should continue to read this article because I believe he says something about, making sure that folks get paid. It says a nationwide lockdown could drive the number of new cases and hospitalizations down to manageable levels while the world awaits a vaccine. We could pay for a package right now to cover all of the wages, lost wages for individual workers, for losses to small companies, to medium-sized companies, or city, state, and county governments. We could do all of that. If we did that, then we could lock down for 4 to 6 weeks. Now, here's my thing. This is what we should have did from the very fucking beginning. Had we done this from the very beginning, we could have been in a position where, okay, we've got, coronavirus here in this country pretty much under control. If there's an outbreak in a certain spot, okay, we need to shut that down until we can get that back under control, where it's not as rampant and widespread as it is now, to where you got a whole bunch of people walking around with this shit, don't know they got it, passing it on to people who are susceptible or who could have like dire consequences if they are to catch it. But we don't know where they got it from because even the contact tracing is sort of shit right now. Like even at my job, like right now, they are relying on people to self-report their temperature. Hey, get on your phone and tell us. They sent you a thermostat in the mail. Like go on the phone and put in the readings for your thermostat that we gave you. Now, if you just saying fuck it, you could just say, all right, my temperature was 98.7%, 98.7. That was my temperature. Just punch that in. Boom, you come to work. Now you could have it. You may not, but you could. Like we've gotten lax. So lax that, I remember at first they was calling this shit the Kung flu and like the corona or the China virus and shit. This is Americanized like a motherfucker. We number one. We're number one. America first. And coronavirus, nigga. And coronavirus. You know what's tripped out though? Is that like Donald Trump got coronavirus and we couldn't get enough. Like this nigga was like doing fucking ride arounds and shit with Secret Service or whatever the fuck, man. You know, he's standing out on the podium and shit, hard breathing or whatever, because he could barely catch his fucking breath, taking his mask off all dramatically and shit, saluting helicopters and shit, trying to look all fucking dictatorish and whatnot. This nigga done lost the election. Now he like that nigga that's like, you know, at the time clock at the restaurant and shit, ready to go home. You ready to punch the fuck out. And then you ask him like, hey man, we got another table over there, man. You want to hurry up, take care of that before you leave? He like, nah, B, I'm cool. Y'all got it. Because we ain't synced this motherfucker, man. We ain't synced this bitch ass. He on Twitter though. He on Twitter heavy, talking about how, you know, the election was a fraud and all this other shit. But yeah, man, it's some bullshit, bruh. It's some bullshit. Now, we should have shut this country down like fully last March. I believe if we would have shut this whole country down, had it not been a hodgepodge of states that decided that they were going to shut down, and then you had those leaning towards Trump or the Republicans or whatever, and politicizing whether or not they were going to shut down. Some of those states now seeing some of their highest fucking coronavirus cases out of any of these states, right? Seeing some of the highest infections because they didn't take the shit seriously in the beginning. You got Florida, who's like, yo, fuck it, we just wide open. Everything open. Fuck that. We ain't got no restrictions. We Americans, goddammit. Okay, you're gonna be American and dead. And fucking dead. People who don't have to be. And that's the infuriating part about this entire shit. Like people who don't have to be, but because of the selfishness of other people, are in predicaments that they can't maybe come back from. That's the infuriating shit, man. But yo, that's been the news. But y'all know what time it is.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
Yes, indeed, man. It is Blue Blazers time. And our first story here in Blue Blazers has to do with one Nick Cannon. Now, last time we talked about Nick Cannon, man, Nick Cannon had stepped in some shit. He had he allowed himself to like been swooped into some anti-Semitic stuff. And Viacom parted ways with him. Took his Wild Now show from him, and like it became this thing. It was weird. There was a time this year where you had a plethora of celebrity black men stepping up and stepping forward to say that yeah, some of this Jewish hate is actually legitimate, right? This is what they were doing. What you had Stat Jack from the Up and Smoke, I think is it Up and Smoke or All the Smoke podcast. You had Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver. I forget what team he plays for right now, but Deshaun Jackson in the NFL, he was out here talking that stuff, that stupid shit. Then you had Nick Cannon out here with Professor Griff, who was so extreme. He got kicked out of Public fucking Enemy, man. Public Enemy ain't been nowhere but on Nick Cannon's podcast, right? Allowed him to come on there, say some anti-Semitic stuff, appeared to agree with some of the anti-Semitic shit that was being said on his platform. And so right now, what it appears is that Nick Cannon's Wild Now show may be coming back with the blessing of motherfucking Viacom.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, I fucked up there, man. I fucked up there. I should have been. Yeah, that's what I was going for. But yeah, let me read this story here. This comes out of hiphopnews.com. It says cancel culture. Oh my God. Cancel culture came for Nick Cannon earlier this year after making anti-Semitic comments on his podcast. Ultimately, this resulted in Viacom cutting ties with the media personality, which includes the loss of Wild Now. Cannon has been trying to get the show back and over the months. There have been whispers surrounding whether it'll return. Per Variety, there's a good chance that it will. President of Viacom CBS's entertainment and youth group, which includes MTV, Chris McCarthy, has previously had a hand in reviving Wild 'N Out on MTV2, and it sounds like he could be working his magic once again. Viacom and Nick Cannon have been in conversation recently, though McCarthy didn't clarify whether he could expect the show to return. However, he did confirm that there have been talks and he's keeping close contact with Cannon. We continue to follow Nick's journey, and I'm impressed by how he's owned his mistakes, McCarthy said. He's been an extended part of our family for almost 20 years and a personal friend of mine for almost half that. He's leading by example, apologize, and trying to learn to understand and help others do the same. That's the kind of partner we want to work with. Now, I will say this. As I was talking about Nick Cannon, as we talked about this issue on the show, one of the biggest things about this entire thing, especially when we talk about cancel culture, is acknowledging when you fucked up, man. Acknowledging when you fucked up. Like for some people, no matter whether you acknowledge it, apologize for it, they don't give a damn. They were looking for that time where you said this or you did this, and therefore you are excommunicated permanently for them, right? Those people you will never reach. But most reasonable people understand that sometimes people fuck up. Sometimes people don't know where they're fucking up at. And it's only until they get their coat pulled to some shit where they recognize like, oh shit, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. Right? I spoke out of turn. Now let me go and figure out how I can make this right. Now let me go and see where it was that I fucked up. What do I need to learn? What do I need to not do going forward? Because one of the biggest things for a lot of folks is, and I think this is the biggest thing when you start talking about growth, is change behavior, right? Like you can apologize all day long. A Trumper will apologize to you all day long, right? A Trumper will apologize to you all day long, but never mean it because they're going to go back and do the same shit that they were doing before. But if you can show change behavior, if you can show genuine empathy for the party that was offended, then, you know, that can lend to you being given some level of recompense that can be, you know, or some level of reconciliation can be made between you and the offended parties. And so, you know, Nick, out of all of them, seemed to be the most receptive to learning about where he fucked up. Like, because right after that whole thing with Professor Griff, I believe he had a rabbi on his show, and he asked, you know, they were talking about this. And here's the part that pisses me off, right? So the thing is, you will have somebody who fucks up, acknowledges they fucked up, but then you got other folks who are comfortable in the ignorance. And they will come to you and say, you ain't do shit wrong. And that was largely a lot of the conversation that was going on with Nick Cannon, was you had a lot of people who were just like, yo, he didn't do nothing wrong. He didn't say nothing wrong, this and the other. And they're speaking from a place of ignorance. And when they saw Nick Cannon apologize, when they saw Nick Cannon go and reach out to those whom he offended to try to make those things right, then suddenly they don't have, you know, they like, man, what are you doing all that shit for, man? He ain't got shit to apologize for, man. What are you calling them motherfuckers for? He ain't got to do all that shit, because they are comfortable in their ignorance. And if you feel as though like, nah, I don't want to be in this place, and suddenly it to them invalidates them, right? So at some point, some of the ignorant people are going to start feeling betrayed. But ultimately, they're going to have that feeling. We can't let people sit in ignorance and be comfortable in ignorance. This is part of the reason why I talk like so strongly on my show about so many different things, man. I don't ever want people comfortable in ignorance. We shouldn't be comfortable in that. Because in much the same way, especially being a marginalized people, if we're going to sit here and talk to white people about what they don't know about what it means to be black in America, and we expect for them to act accordingly when we tell them so, then damn it, where do we find the room when another marginalized group of folks are like, hey man, you fucking up right here. And then we come back and say, well, nah, nigga, that ain't what I meant by that, man. You taking it the wrong way. Like, no, you don't have the room for that, especially being a marginalized person. We don't have the room for that. And so, yeah, man, like I know like Nick Cannon is trying to do the work, and I can applaud Nick Cannon for trying to do the work. That's what I will applaud him for. Now, that's not to say that he like, you know, totally redeemed himself. That's not for me to say. All I can say is like, yo, kudos to you trying to do the work, man. You fucked up. You acknowledge you fucked up. You're trying to make it right. And by and large, man, like that's the example that you would like for people to set when they fuck up. So yeah, man. Shout out to Nick and shout out to Viacom for maybe, coming back together after a huge fuck up like that, man. Real talk. Another story here that's in Blue Blazes is Chris Brown then got him a goddamn OnlyFans. What? Yeah, man. So we get the story here. This comes out of the Daily Beast. Yeah, man. The Daily Beast is writing about Chris Brown. But we read the story here. It says Chris Brown joins OnlyFans, further proving that this is the bad place. All right, so they mad about it. But we're going to read the story here. And it says OnlyFans just added another celebrity to his roster. And unfortunately, that celebrity is Chris Brown. On Wednesday night, the singer posted a link to his page along with 2 sets of eyeball emojis. Although it began as a subscription platform for adult industry workers, OnlyFans has seen an influx of celebrity users over the past few months, including Cardi B, Amber Rose, Tyler Posey, and perhaps most infamously, Bella Thorne. Plenty of fans expressed excitement at Brown's announcement that he will now join those ranks, although many seem skeptical that he'll post anything worth the $20 per month. Here's the thing, right? And I was asking my wife about this in the car earlier today. Like, when OnlyFans came out, was it really about porn? Like, was that what they were going for? Because I kind of look at it like this. Like, it seemed as though, and it's like I remember years ago, I remember actually getting into an argument with my daughter's mom about this, about having a Black Planet page, and she wasn't like internet savvy. She wasn't really on the internet much at all, and she said her friends told her that Black Planet was where niggas go to meet. Like niggas go there to meet bitches and shit. And I'm like, that's not why I'm there. There's pictures of you all over my page. But whatever. She wasn't really trying to do that. She wasn't trying to hear that shit. And I was really there like arguing in the news forums and stuff. I've been doing this shit for a long time. But arguing in the news forums or whatever, right? But like, I wonder how much the perception has actually just sort of made a thing. Because I don't know, and somebody educate me if I'm wrong on this. I don't know if OnlyFans began as something for people in the adult film industry. I simply thought that OnlyFans started as a way to have premium content for people who fuck with you, much like Patreon, right? And that you can connect with your fans in a way that can generate revenue for you and your content, right? Now, it could be any kind of content. It could be podcasts. It could be videos. It could be, I don't know, music maybe. It could be those things. But it was, it was a way in which you can connect with your fans directly and they could pay you directly and you don't have to deal with, all these other entities, right? And, oh, man. Shit. Hold on, y'all. I got to take this call. This sucks, man. Hold up. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. That's fine. All right. You're part of this podcast now. I was actually recording. I said I'm recording the podcast right now. You're part of it now. So I don't know about that. I'm not famous myself, but okay. We'll see. We'll see. I got you, man. I got you, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. I can't wait till I tell y'all about this shit. I swear I can't wait till I can tell y'all about that. But I had to take that call. But yeah, man. I forgot where I was. Oh yeah. Nick Cannon. I'm sorry. Chris Brown, OnlyFans. And I was saying, I wonder like whether or not OnlyFans began with the idea that it was going to be an adult sort of thing. Like if that was the perception that they wanted, and whether or not perception just shaped what OnlyFans was, right? Because OnlyFans, like, because you can put anything you want on OnlyFans, but now the perception is out there that like, yo, OnlyFans is where you go to look at freak shit, right? Now, it's not to say that you can't put anything else other than freak shit on OnlyFans, but the minute you tell somebody you got an OnlyFans page, they thinking you own some freak shit, you know? Like if I told my wife right now, like, babe, I'm thinking about, getting an OnlyFans. My wife would probably slap me upside my motherfucking head. Like, nigga, what the fuck is you talking about? You getting the OnlyFans. And I could have been like, yo, babe, it's just only for like premium podcast content. You know what I'm saying? She ain't trying to hear that shit. She think I'm gonna have my dick swinging all over the place, man. And I ain't doing that, no more. But yeah, so yeah, man. Chris Brown joins OnlyFans, and I gotta tell you, man, with the celebrities, the amount of money that they've been able to generate on OnlyFans is only gonna. I can only see it growing more in popularity because more and more celebrities are jumping on there. Again, like Cardi B, she does OnlyFans, but I don't believe that Cardi B has any like X-rated material on her OnlyFans at all. I'm not subscribed to her on there. I'm not even on OnlyFans, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think that she has that sort of content on her page. But I just kind of wonder how much the perception of OnlyFans has been shaped by this idea, and now has it become something of an adult website because of the ways in which, adult entertainers have used OnlyFans in order to generate revenue for themselves, right? So, yeah, but that's in Blue Blazes, man. Chris Brown joins the OnlyFans, man, real talk. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazes is, Kanye West has threatened to leave the country because Donald Trump has has lost the election. You know what, man? I gotta say this, man. And I said this about Ice Cube. I know I've been talking about like black, like these rappers and shit, especially jumping into the political arena. I know I've said this a lot. I've been talking about Ice Cube, been talking about Kanye West, talking about Lil Wayne, talking about all these motherfuckers. And I'm sorry to my listeners. I apologize. I should not have just been doing all of that. I mean, I really shouldn't. Truthfully speaking, I should have been addressing Ice Cube, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne with this level of disdain.
Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this, nigga? This is ridiculous.
I don't want to dance. I'm scared to death. Right? And I think that's the sentiment that I should have been having when it came to people like Kanye, people like Ice Cube, people like Lil Wayne. Like, truthfully, have we ever asked Ice Cube what he thought about anything politically before now? Right? And that's something I was thinking about because Ice Cube up until this point, we knew him for the Friday movies. We knew him for Death Certificate. We knew him for West Side Connection. We knew him for Are We There Yet? We knew him for Ride Along and like these buddy cop, comedies and stuff like that. Like Ice Cube is in a different space than when we were introduced to him and everything, right? And it's not to say that Ice Cube or Kanye or Lil Wayne can't become politically astute. It's just that we've never really listened to these niggas about their political acumens, man. We've never went to them for their advice on anything political whatsoever. Most of us. And so I think what was bothering me the most about Ice Cube was the attention that mainstream media was giving someone like Ice Cube when you got people who are doing the work, who have been doing this work for long periods of time, not getting the same level of attention that an Ice Cube would get. And also that Ice Cube or Lil Wayne or Kanye West wouldn't put forth people who were doing the work. Now, Kanye put forward, kind of lended credence to a Candace Owens. And I think Candace Owens is a grifter. Candace Owens is going to find a hard time being relevant now that Donald Trump is not president right now. I predict that right now. She's going to have a hard time finding people who will be willing to listen to the bullshit coming out of her fucking mouth. Her and people like Tommy Lauren, those sorts of folks. Because what you're finding is, like, in much the same way that like a lot of the people who were when Barack Obama was president, there was a gang of people who got speaking gigs on like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and they had different perspectives, but they were there because President Obama was there. What we're going to see now is those people like a Candace Owens, like a Tommy Lauren, who were only there, who were only viable, who were only being listened to because they promoted a certain perspective as it related to the president who was in office at the time. This is what I perceive. This is what I'm predicting for this. Candace Owens, we ain't gonna really hear from her a whole lot now that Donald Trump is gone. She's gonna lose relevance, or she's gonna try to switch up and go into some other shit. Same thing with Tommy Lauren, even. But I hate that rappers whom we never listen to about their political acumen, or taking any of their political advice, were being put front and center stage concerning some of the more pressing issues of the day. CNN had no business putting Ice Cube on TV. None whatsoever. Lil Wayne deciding that he was going to jump into the political fray and endorse Donald Trump and the Platinum Plan that had no real plans whatsoever in it. The same nigga that told y'all that he don't give a fuck about no Black Lives Matter and his lives matter and all this other shit because he's a rich black man in America. He's so disconnected from your experience now. Lil Wayne has been rich since he was a kid, y'all. Right? He is disconnected from your experience as an American right now. Kanye West then like totally left the fucking planet. Right? So we weren't really listening to them for their political acumen. We were listening to them because, yo, man, they make dope beats. They can put words together. You know what I'm saying? The shit sound good. But that was it. And so I just kind of hate that when it came to like talking about serious political topics, how they jumped out into the fray above all of these people who we know what the fuck they're talking about, have the acumen, have the political experience, and they're not getting that same level of attention. That's what was bothering me. Those people who put in that work, who have worked in this, who have been doing this work all of their lives, and all this rapper had to do was say was like, yeah, I got a chance to meet with President Trump's administration. Like, how you do that? You don't even do shit. And then also them not understanding that, like, the only reason they were able to meet with him is because he was looking for the photo op. And it was like, after 4 years of Donald Trump using black people as props for photo ops, like, you niggas still don't get it. Especially Ice Cube, like, you niggas still don't get it. So yeah, man, Kanye West threatens to leave the country. Hey man, like, see you, peace, be gone. I can't tell you, like, I can't tell you you're gonna be missed to a certain segment of the population. Also, concerning his like presidential run, like, you're gonna leave the country because Donald Trump didn't get reelected. This also lends further credence to the idea. I know that he was only running to try to siphon votes away from Joe Biden. And I was actually in a little back and forth with another podcaster on Instagram, and this podcaster said that he was going to vote for Kanye West, and his sole reason for voting for Kanye West was because he wanted to vote for somebody that was black, and that he couldn't in good conscience vote for Donald Trump because he believed that Donald Trump didn't do enough for black people while he's been in office. And also he couldn't vote for Joe Biden because Joe Biden was responsible for the 1994 crime bill. And he wrote the bill and everything else. And I hope this is the last time I talk about that goddamn 1994 crime bill, because I get sick and tired. I got sick and tired of it when Bernie Sanders supporters would bring it up. I'm getting sick and tired of it now with Donald Trump supporters bringing it up and Kanye West supporters from bringing it up, right? But the interesting thing about it is that they first, when they tried this out against Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton was being made to be like taken to task over a law that she had no legislative power to implement. She couldn't sign that shit into law. She couldn't even vote that shit to become law. But Hillary Clinton was that it was like an albatross across her neck that she supported that law. The other thing, there, of course, Joe Biden has more of an intimate connection with that law because he wrote the bill, because he voted for the bill, and because it became law, right? The interesting thing about that is that, like, Republicans act as though they had no fucking, input into that bill whatsoever. Suddenly, it becomes an albatross across Democrats' necks because Joe Biden wrote the bill. Republicans act as though they were hands off on the shit, right? And the other thing that I think is the other thing, and I think this is why history and nuance is important. And when we talk about these issues, is that it's one thing to, for one, like Joe Biden to write the bill. And for those of us who lived during the 1990s, who saw what the crack epidemic did to cities that I lived in, such as Detroit and Chicago, to see what the crack epidemic did to those cities, and to see the level of support that it got back then from your reverends, from your city councilmen and your aldermen, from your mayors, from your governors, from your state reps, from your, like, it was a grassroots sort of like, we got to do something, right? And to see that it passed in the Senate 100-0. Can you imagine anything passing the Senate 100-0 now? No, you couldn't, because of how divided politically we are, how partisanship has kind of seeped into how, moderates have really no place into the political spectrum now, nowadays, right? And so, like, we forget that the nuance that gave us the bill to begin with, and we see these things in black and white. And so when you say, well, Joe Biden gave us the crime bill, therefore I can't vote for him because, my cousin went to jail because of that crime bill, and he went to jail for much longer than he should have for the crime that he committed. Although I hear you, and I also know people who went to jail because of that, I also understand that crime bill was what was asked for by the people in our very own communities. And the call was coming from inside the house. People within the communities were asking for something to be done. Now, it's one thing for that crime bill to be implemented, and it could be, we come back, here we are now, like, nearly 30 years later, and we've got some hindsight in it, behind us, and we can, just look at, like, okay, in hindsight, that was kind of fucked up, right? And even Joe Biden, while he was asked about it during the town hall, was saying, like, it was a mistake. And also there were some other things happening within state legislatures that also exasperated how bad that bill had gotten. It's another thing entirely to retroactively attribute nefarious intent for the reasons why that bill came to be, especially when you ignore all of the cries for something to happen from within the community. And this is the reason why I lose patience. I lost patience with a lot of people when it came to talking about the 1994 crime bill. And the first thing I would ask people was like, man, when was you born? When was you born? Because if you was born in 2000, I ain't really trying to hear this shit from you. If you was born in 1999, I ain't trying to hear this shit from you. If you was born in 95, I ain't trying to hear this shit from you, because you don't know what the fuck was going on there. Everything that you know about this is retroactive. You're not really trying to look into the history of how these things came to be, which is important. So yeah, man, it's funny, man. I got all the way there while talking about rappers, talking about rappers in the support of Donald Trump. But the sentiment is still the same. Kanye West, hey man, go and do what you do. Make them ugly ass shoes, man. You know, make beats or whatever and do your thing. But yo, that's in Blue Blazes. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazes is apparently there are Trump supporters who are jumping on a new website called Parler as a safe space from Twitter because they don't like censorship. All right, I thought I had this damn story saved. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this back up. Yeah, I thought I had this story saved here, and I didn't. Duh. All right, but here we go. We get this story here. This comes out of cnet.com. It says that Parler downloads jump as conservatives flock to the Twitter clone after Biden win. It says Twitter and Facebook have cracked down on political misinformation by adding labels to posts, including those shared by President Donald Trump, who lost his bid for re-election to Democratic challenger Joe Biden. Now conservatives are flocking to Parler, an alternative social network. Over the weekend, high-profile conservatives urged others to join Parler after major news outlets projected Biden's victory. Twitter has aided the Democrat Party in stealing this election, and now everything Trump says is being silenced. Tell everyone you know to get on Parler. Far-right provocateur Laura Loomer told her more than 687,000 followers on Parler on Saturday. Twitter and Facebook, which have repeatedly denied allegations of conservative bias, suspended Loomer from their platform for violating their rules. Twitter permanently suspended Loomer in 2018 after she falsely tweeted that Democratic Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar, one of the first Muslim women to serve in Congress, was anti-Jewish and pro-Sharia. Twitter said that Loomer, who had more than 260,000 followers on the site, was permanently banned for violating its rules against hateful conduct, and not because of her political beliefs, as she had claimed. Facebook suspended Loomer from the main social network and its photo service Instagram in 2019 for running afoul of its policy against dangerous individuals. Loomer is just one of the millions of people who have recently sought refuge with Parler, which calls itself a non-biased, free speech-driven platform. Republicans such as Senator Ted Cruz from Texas have been promoting the apps this year since Twitter started applying labels to Trump's tweets that falsely claim fraud with mail-in ballots, or that the company said glorify violence. As of Tuesday, Parler remained the top free app in Apple and Google's app stores. On November 9th, Parler racked up roughly 880,000 installs in the U.S. from the App Store and Google Play. The most downloads the app has seen in a single day, according to estimates from Sensor Tower, which analyzes mobile app data. I'm gonna just say this right now, man. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how for years conservatives were mocking the idea of a safe space, man? Like, wasn't that a thing, man? Like, you know, you guys, your safe spaces in your bubbles, man. You know, you can't deal with a little trolling, man. You know, you guys are fucking, you guys are fucking cucks, man. You guys are fucking cucks. You can't handle it, man. I'm fucking your wife, man. I'm fucking your wife. You know, like just ridiculousness, right? They mock the idea of a safe space, and yet here they are now. Trump's out of office. They know shit's about to, like, you know, all right, shit, we was able to act a fool for a minute, but shit, like, these motherfuckers ain't playing with us no more. And so they go to this website, Parler, and I downloaded it for a second, and I'm like, because I had heard about it, and I'm like, wait a minute. What? I knew I had heard about it. I'm like, why was this the thing? And then when I saw who was, like, you know, really trying to be on there, I'm like, why the fuck would I want to really be on there? You know, fuck them people. You know what I'm saying? I don't like those people over there. Fuck them. You know? And so it just became this thing. Like, now they're looking for a safe space, and they're promoting this as a thing of, like, free speech, right? And I've said this for years, man. People have the idea of free speech so fucked up. Free speech is free from legal persecution by the government for some of the things you say. Facebook is under no obligation to give you free speech. You are under the terms of service that you agree to when you sign up for your account. Same with Twitter, same with Snapchat, same with TikTok. You sign up, that whole long ass legally shit that you say you agree to that you never fucking read, because I didn't read it either. But we like, yo, these are the things we agreed to. And then the minute that they crack down and say, well, like, okay, so this shit here you can't say, you know, suddenly like, you God damn it, you're hurting my free speech, man. You're hurting my goddamn free speech, man. This is fucking America, man. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say because it's America. I mean, yeah, you can say what you want to say, but it doesn't mean you are free from consequences. You're not going to jail for saying this shit on Facebook. They just said, fuck it. You're gonna be in like jail for like, I mean, you're gonna be on Facebook jail for a couple of days. We're gonna sit you down. We can't have you on our platform doing this, saying this sort of crazy shit. Right? You didn't go to jail. The Gestapo didn't come to your door. The state police or the FBI or the CIA, none of them came to your door. None of that shit. You were able to say the things that you said. The only consequences you got is you couldn't say the shit on Facebook no more. Ooh. Right? And so they're looking for the safe space. And what they're really talking about is, and this is just how I summarize the shit. You got a bunch of non-intellectually, I want to say intellectually averse, because they don't necessarily like smart people. And they don't like facts for some odd reason either. So you go to a place where you don't have to be surrounded by facts. You don't have to be surrounded by people who are intelligent. You can kind of be like a circle jerk, or you and your conspiracy theories, sort of like 4chan. We know what happened with 4chan, right? It's sort of like a place where they kind of congregate and, come up with these little plots and plans and shit. We saw what happened with, some of the unfettered the unmonitored conversation that would happen with 4chan. We had a motherfucker go into a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C. thinking Hillary Clinton had kids in there for sex slaves. It's fucking madness. Right? Fucking madness, man. But this is what conservatives are into now. Like, conservatives now are looking for safe spaces. The very shit that they were talking about was like they were mocking, just mocking 3 short years ago, man. But yo, man, that's been Blue Blazers.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
But y'all know what time it is.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Yeah, that's enough of that shit. It's proud to be an American time here at the Spanport Podcast, y'all. And our first story here, and proud to be an American, has to do with the state of Florida, man. Florida is in proud to be an American because, Florida is out here doing that dumb shit, right? Our first story has to do with the fact that the governor of the state of Florida has introduced legislation that would allow for citizens to shoot and kill would-be looters and robbers. I'm sorry, rioters, right? They use demonstrators, looters, rioters interchangeably, which is why this shit is so problematic. But we read the story here. This comes out of yahoonews.com. Is that the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, has drafted anti-mob legislation to include looting and expanded stand your ground laws that would increase protections for a shooting defense to riots. The push to expand self-defense laws comes after civil unrest erupted across the United States and Florida over the summer and the lead up to the presidential election. It would add looting to the list of forcible felonies to justify the use of force against people who commit a burglary within 500 feet of violent or disorderly assembly, according to the anti-mob legislation draft obtained by the Miami Herald under a public records request. It allows for vigilantes to justify their actions, a former Miami-Dade County prosecutor, Denise Georges, who has worked with Stand Your Ground cases, told the Herald. It also allows for death to be the punishment for a property crime, and that is cruel and unusual punishment. We cannot live in a lawless society where taking a life is done so casually and recklessly. And truthfully speaking, let's go back to this. This is a response to people being unjustly killed by law enforcement and no fucking consequences being meted out. This is a response to that response. They know who they're targeting with this legislation. And so again, we go back to this idea that they use anarchists and rioters and looters and demonstrators. They use these terms interchangeably. So you can be a peaceful demonstrator, you know what I'm saying? You can be a peaceful demonstrator, expressing your dismay or your outrage about the current climate of whatever incident happened recently, right? You can be out there demonstrating, and someone decides that they're going to turn this into a violent interaction. Say, for instance, as a matter of fact, we saw instances of this during the summer when George Floyd was killed, where there were demonstrations happening across the country, and then what you had was rogue agents. This sounds conspiratorial as fuck, but we saw instances of this where you had white folks who weren't even connected with the demonstrators whatsoever, destroying property, breaking windows, throwing bricks through windows, taking crowbars through windows, setting fires. We saw demonstrators telling them like, yo, man, stop doing this shit because they're going to believe that we are responsible for this. And on top of that, we got to fucking live here. You don't. We saw that happening. And so when they assume that, or when they just like kind of put this out there, like, okay, so looters and rioters, you are able to get, if someone shoots you, if a citizen shoots you, they have a defense for that because we've now put this into law, right? Imagine this. And William Chambers is in the chat room right now, and he asks a question. He says, interesting, there's no lynch mob provision. Defending yourself from lynching is still punishable. Yeah, but check this out though, right? So Kyle Rittenhouse went to Wisconsin armed with an AR-15. He said he was there to prevent businesses from being looted and being destroyed. And he was just defending property, right? Kyle Rittenhouse went to Wisconsin, killed two people. He's now, after they allowed this dude to go home, he's now in, I believe he's now in custody. I'm not sure exactly what the his custody situation is right now, but he's just now being charged with those killings, right? And at the top, the current dude who's occupying the White House right now praised him and also said that he was killed because he killed these people in self-defense. Can you imagine had Kyle Rittenhouse stayed his ass at the motherfucking house and didn't cross state lines with an AR-15 and end up killing two people? How those two people could still be alive had Kyle Rittenhouse stayed his ass at home, right? What this law kind of like foretells is the possibility that a Kyle Rittenhouse can kill somebody and never be arrested because a riot was deemed to be going on or looting was deemed to be going on, and therefore that makes his killing a justifiable homicide. Somehow a looter or a rioter loses their life, no chance for trial, no chance for being convicted even by a jury or their peers. You've allowed someone to become judge, jury, and executioner, all because, you want to preserve this property that may be insured and can be replaced. That life, not so much. Florida. Yeah, that's in Proud to Be an American. Another story here we got here in Proud to Be an American is that a Trump supporter actually went to fucking jail because he followed Donald Trump's advice, man. This motherfucker went to jail because he requested an absentee ballot for his dead mother, man.
God damn!
Yeah, man. So we read the story here. This comes out of the HuffingtonPost.com. It says the president accused the Democrats of voter fraud, but one of his supporters became the first person in the Pennsylvania county charged with the crime in 30 years. President Donald Trump has a colorful imagination when it comes to the fictitious specter of voter fraud. Although actual cases of people impersonating a registered voter in order to artificially alter vote totals are infinitesimally small and rare, Trump has repeatedly claimed without evidence that mail-in voting, which states have made more available this election cycle due to COVID-19, is a magnet for fraud. But to the extent that voter fraud is a problem this year, Trump might want to take a closer look at his own supporters. Robert Lynn, a registered Republican and Trump supporter in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, was arrested on Wednesday for allegedly requesting an absentee ballot for his mother who died in 2015. Lynn, who's 67, is a resident of Luzerne County, a largely white working-class political bellwether that Barack Obama won twice, but which has swung hard for Trump in 2016. Lynn is being charged with voter fraud and forgery for faking his deceased mother's signature on an absentee ballot request form. Ain't this how it always happens? Like, isn't this how this always happens? Like, again, we know that Republicans can't win straight up. So here's essentially what Donald Trump has been doing the last 4 years, man. Donald Trump has been like, what's that old shit we used to say when we was kids? I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever say bounce off me and sticks to you, right? That's what Donald Trump has been. That's how Donald Trump has been operating his presidency the entire time when it comes to voting. He's been accusing Democrats of voter fraud this entire time. Meanwhile, Republicans have been the ones repeatedly convicted of voter fraud, voter intimidation, voter suppression, having cases overturned, having voter legislation that seeks to restrict the voting abilities of the populace, having those things overturned, having those things like just completely washed off of the fucking the books. Like, this is what they've been accused of, and yet they continuously float this fantasy about Democrats cooking the books. We don't have to cook the books. Democrats, by and large, represent a larger swath of the country. I believe this to my core. The only reason why Republicans win anything is because of the rules that obstruct people from being able to exercise their franchise. That's it. That's it. They cannot win straight up. This is why they see mail-in ballots as a threat. This is why they see voter registration and easy voter registration as a threat. You will never see, if Republicans had anything to do with it, we would never see automatic voter registration. We would never see a voter holiday in this nation where, yo, man, you get the day off. It's like, yo, we just all gonna go vote. Ain't no word. It's a holiday. Everybody going to vote, right? We will never see that if Republicans had anything to do with it, because Republicans know they represent, and their policies represent a minority view in this country. This is why they fought so hard to get that Supreme Court justice right before this election, because they know we gotta somehow exert some level of authority, despite the fact that our point of view represents a minority in this country now. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. A Trump supporter caught cooking his books. He said county prosecutors have told local news outlets that this is the first case of alleged voter fraud in the country in 3 decades. County election authorities flagged the ballot request as suspicious in September, triggering the investigation that led to Lynn's arrest. Lynn allegedly first denied the allegations to detectives before admitting to the deed. So, yeah, man, Donald Trump is out here promoting criminality. Like, just think about that for a minute, man. You're president of the United States out here promoting criminality, man. Real talk. That's in Proud to Be an American. Another story that we got here in Proud to Be an American is Ben Carson contracted the coronavirus. Yeah, man. Let's read the story. This comes out of CNBC. It says Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson has tested positive for the coronavirus, NBC News reported Monday. The news came less than a week after it was revealed that President Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has also tested positive for COVID-19. Also, Trump administration, I don't know if he's an official now. He was the campaign manager at one point for Donald Trump, Corey Lewandowski, also infected with the coronavirus. Like, yo, man, it's like a coronavirus like frat party over there, man. Like, they didn't turn the goddamn they didn't turn the White House into MASH, man. Everybody over there got the cooties. Everybody over there got it. For real. Like think about that, man. Think about that. Like, this is something that you would expect from third world countries and shit, where their leadership, the top leadership, not from not taking this shit seriously, to just not having the resources. We got one of the richest nations on earth, if not the richest, right? Well, you know, we kind of in debt. We owe motherfuckers and shit. I think we owe like China or whatever, but like we owe motherfuckers money and shit, but we like considered the richest nation on earth. And yet we can't even keep our own leader from catching the shit because our leader doesn't take the shit seriously enough and tries to use it as a way to make him seem superhuman. Listen, it's a new day, y'all. It's a new day. We are finally going to be rid of this motherfucker. It's been 1,500 some odd days. We're going to be finally rid of this stupid motherfucker. And I can't wait till we get back to some level of normalcy, some level of competence, some level of statesmanship, some level of diplomacy, some level of common sense, some level of restraint, some level of compassion, something that resembles a fucking leader, man. Something. But yo, that's been proud to be an American, yo.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
But y'all know what time it is.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
All right. It's Champ of the Week time here at the Spann Report Podcast, man. And truthfully speaking, the Champ of the Week is like a repeat, man. Because, like, yo, the American motherfucking voter, man, came through for your boy, man. Oh, my God, man. Give yourselves a motherfucking salute, nigga. Have a drink. Have a drink on your boy. Like, as a matter of fact, I'm going to swig for you. Hold on a second. Oh, shit, that bitch was full. I ain't know it. But, yo, man, have a drink, man. Salute yourselves. Give yourselves some hugs, man. Shout out to all the sisters who can now say that they got a black woman who's vice president of the United States, one heartbeat away from being the president of the motherfucking United States. I know all the AKAs, a ski win, all up in. You know what? Inauguration day is gonna be wild. You ain't gonna be able to tell an AKA nothing. My mother-in-law is an AKA, so like you're not gonna be able to tell her nothing. You're gonna be able to tell none of her sorors nothing. It's gonna be a big thing, man. Shout out to everybody who voted for competence and diplomacy and all of those things I said we get a return of, man. Because again, as Reggie said in the email, you really don't miss what you had until it's gone, man. And we've been out there, we've been starving for that shit for the better part of the last 4 years, man. The American voter came through. Black voters showed up and showed out. Black women voters showed up and showed the fuck out. 80% of brothers showed the fuck up, man. And I'll say this. I'll slap myself on the hand. I paid way too much attention to you apathy-filled motherfuckers. I really did. I paid way too much attention to you niggas. And I gave y'all the attention that y'all were seeking. And for y'all, and for that, my bad, y'all. My bad. I gave way too much attention to these motherfuckers. And shout out to the brothers who actually got it, who understood the stakes that we were dealing with, who understood the what we need going forward, and made the conscious and the right decision. Right? So yeah, that's what it is, man. Champ of the Week is y'all, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. Champ of the Week is y'all. But it is time for us to get on up out of here. I got some things to do. Busy man span for real. But before I get on up out of here, I do have to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast. Let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline. Area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here live on the show, responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave me those emails, and of course, those emails will get ready here and reply to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. You can also hit us up with a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast, man. Also, go and visit our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, man. Real talk. But I gotta go. I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.